So we're not gonna make Joe go first this time, unless he wants to.
He's I like going first.
All right.
Okay, ready? Okay, so we left off last time with Darsha Assant starting that battle with all the Raptor gang when she was taking Ulth, the Black Sun informant, out of his apartment. We have not met Hathmon Char, but we're going to today. Let's see. Darth Maul, we left off with him basically leaving that data center with the lead for Hathmon Char, walking into a tavern. And what's his name? Lorne Pavon getting drunk at the bar. So now we are meeting Hathmon Char in a bar. And he's sitting there. He's got all sorts of different emotions going because he did decide to take that information of the blockade of Naboo to sell to somebody. Now he's trying to find somebody to sell it to. Little couple of fun facts about Nemoidians. They're very, very timid, cowardly creatures. And Hathmon Char is even more so than most Nemoidians. So the fact that he's even trying to do something as sketchy as sell this information is completely out of character for him. But also he's feeling like a sense of pride for taking control of his life and doing something this big. But also the information he's selling isn't just the blockade. It's also he's selling out Darth Sidious. He's telling him that, the person leading this charge is a Sith Lord. So he's sitting in a bar. It's not his usual bar that he goes to. He is on Coruscant. He's now using a fake name, going to other places. He's not staying in his usual apartment. He's renting an apartment on a different part of town. But he's sitting at the bar thinking, how is he going to sell this? He just needs to, get some fortitude to find somebody who can deal with this kind of information. He signals over. He's got a Baragwin bartender. I did not look up what a Baragwin is. But he asks for another beverage and thinks that'll give him the fortitude he needs to find who he's looking for to handle this information. So that's all Hathmon Char is doing right now. We also meet Maui Lin for the first time. She's a bounty hunter for about 10 years, been all over the galaxy. They don't tell us what her homeworld is, but they did tell us that she left her homeworld because she had to assassinate a politician, a corrupt politician. So she's a veteran for sure. They do tell us what she's wearing and kind of what she's equipped with. It's a utilitarian tunic and pants made of densely woven shell spider silk. So it's basically armor that doesn't look like armor. She's got 2 DL-44 blasters, one on each side, a small disruptor pistol in an ankle holster, a MM9 wrist rocket on each arm, a palm flechette shooter in her right hand, and a utility belt with stun cuffs, stun baton, and 3 glob grenades. So even though she's wearing armor that doesn't look like armor, I'm pretty sure all the gear she's wearing is going to give it away. So she goes to Coruscant. She checks his apartment first. Got to start with the obvious to see if he's there, save a bunch of time. She's met with a security droid at the front door. Security droid said he's not there. Maui just sets this circuit disruptor on him, shorts him out. She goes up into the apartment, which is on the 500th floor, so it's a giant building. Of course, Hathmon Char's not there. She's looking for clues for where he's at. Comes up empty-handed. She leaves, takes the circuit disruptor, and gets out of there before the droid can reboot. Goes for a walk, kind of taking in Coruscant because she's never been to Coruscant before. She figures he's still in the area because this is the area that he knows best. So she's assuming that he's just going to stick to the area he knows best. And then she tries to think, where's he going to go next? If he's not at his apartment, where is he going to go? She looks at her watch, sees it's almost dinner time. So she's going to go look to see if he's getting dinner at some of these places. So she starts her search for all the restaurants that specialize in Nemoidian food. That's where we leave off with her. Now, we get back to Darth Maul. He walks into a bar, the one that he got the security footage of, the Nemoidian that looked like Hathmon Char walking into that bar. He goes into the bar, scans out all the different creatures inside, doesn't see any Nemoidians. Walks up to the bartender. The bartender is a Baragwin, so we're assuming this is the same spot. He tells the bartender, "Hey, I'm looking for a Nemoidian. He would have been here within the last few hours." Baragwin kind of doesn't take him seriously. He goes, "I don't recall seeing a Nemoidian recently." And Maul does his intimidation, leans in, think again. Maul could use the Force to extract the information from this guy, but decides to go with intimidation. Interesting move. The Baragwin says he doesn't, actually, upon further reflection, he does recall seeing a representative of that species about an hour ago. So far the intimidation tactic's working. Maul asks, "Did he speak to you or anyone else?" Bartender says he ordered an ale. "Did he speak of anything else?" He goes, "Yeah, he inquired of me how one might contact someone proficient in the buying and selling of sensitive information." Maul says, "And you told him what?" He goes, "Well, I gave him a name." Maul says, "You will now give me that name." He says, "Lorne Pavon. He's well known in this city sector for one who traffics in such merchandise." Maul asks where he can find Pavon. Bartender says he doesn't know. Maul leans in, kind of glares at him. He goes, "Really? I've told you all that I know." Pavon comes in every now and then with a droid named I-5. Now, that little piece of information is crucial because in that area of Coruscant, those lower levels, people just don't have personal droids like that. So it's really going to help Darth Maul narrow down his search. He asks him to describe this Lorne Pavon. And the way he's described is tall, muscular, has black hair on his head, not his face, brown eyes, and females of his species would call him handsome. So, a real stud. Now, Maul has one more question for this bartender, and it's a really important question because it's going to determine if he has to kill this bartender or not. He asks, did the Nemoidians speak at all to you about the information he wished to sell? He said, "He did not. I told you all that I know." Maul didn't feel any disturbance in the Force and said, "All right." No, he didn't say anything. Just, boom, turns and leaves. So now he's walking down the streets of Coruscant, the sidewalks, densely packed sidewalks. People are just, parting ways, making way for Maul because he's intimidating. And Maul's relieved that he didn't have to kill the Baragwin bartender, but not out of any pity or any moral belief. Just he didn't want to deal with the paperwork that came with killing 2 or 3 people in a bar in the middle of the day. So
understandable.
But he also does say that he's so devoted to Sidious and this mission that if he had to kill an entire city sector, he wouldn't hesitate.
Jeez.
So, yeah, Maul's serious. So now he's got another lead. He's going to start tracking down Lorne Pavon. Hopefully that'll lead him to Monchar. So, pretty good lead. Next, we're back to Darsha. Remember, we left her. She was using the Force to kind of use her Jedi mind tricks to tell the people, you're not interested in this craft, leave us alone. She was walking to the craft, and then she heard a screech, and that was Ulth getting attacked by the large armored rat.
Armored rat.
Yeah, she reaches for her lightsaber, but then they were already on her. So that's where we left off. So we're picking up right from there. She takes one hit from the back. She gets another one to the side. She reaches for the Force and does this giant Force push and pushes the Raptor gang back, pulls out her lightsaber. It's a yellow lightsaber. And she's backing away or backing up towards the ship. She's like, "Hey, I told you guys to leave me alone." One of the Raptors yells, "A Jedi!" The guy with the green mohawk says, "Well, she's still dead meat, but it's just kind of a Mexican standoff for a second." Darsha feels a disturbance in the Force behind her, and then there is a stocky Goldel flies over the Skyhopper with a vibro blade. Darsha turns around, slices his hand off, sends the vibro blade with the Raptor's arm still clutching it, arcing through the air, lands in the speeder. Another standoff, everybody's stunned. She doesn't know if they're going to back off or if they're all just going to jump her at once. Green Mohawk guy, he's the first to run. The rest of the Raptors follow. Now, Ulth is still in the street with this armored rat. Darsha goes up to him and kind of up to the rat, just kind of tags him with her lightsaber real quick. And the armored rat takes off. They get into the Skyhopper. Darsha grabs the controls and then realizes that they're not going to go anywhere because that vibro blade that she cut off that landed inside the Skyhopper basically took out the controls. And this Ulth guy, his reaction to it is, "Oh, some Jedi you are, you disabled your own ship." So now they're in this shitty situation. Darsha is already fed up with this guy. He's talking shit. She says, "It's okay. It's just a minor setback." She's like, "I'm just going to call the Jedi temp." And then she stops mid-sentence because she realized when she grabbed her telecommunicator that it had been damaged from that sidekick she took earlier. So now she's sitting there, doesn't know what she's going to do. And then, pew, big old shatter windshield comes from a sniper blaster out of nowhere. She's looking around, pew, another bolt slice right by her ear. They both jump out of the Skyhopper. Darsha shoots her ascension gun, the grappling hook, up above the fog layer of the lower levels where they're at. It catches onto a ledge or something. She grabs Ulth, and they start to ascend. Boom, another blaster bolt barely misses them. Their goal right now is basically to keep ascending as far as they can, hopefully to get up to the traffic line where they can get, hop on someone's car or a taxi, something. They just need to get up. So they're ascending, and then a whoosh swoops by them, and then another swoosh goes by them, and they're suddenly just swarmed by these hawk bats. So they're just in this giant, swarm of hawk bats. Darsha, she decides to put her face in her shoulder to protect her face. Ulth is screaming. He's got one hawk bat latched on his arm, pecking at his face. He's got another one pecking at his hands. Darsha tells him, "Hold on, they're almost there." And then Ulth lets out this deadening cry, louder than all of his other cries before. And Darsha looks down, sees a hawk bat has hooked its beak into his eye. Now, Ulth at this point is just overcome with pain. He lets go of Darsha, trying to get the hawk bat off of his face. Darsha's only holding on to him with one arm. He's starting to fall. She's holding on to his shirt. He's too heavy. The shirt rips. He starts to fall from the 8th level. And Darsha does not think that he can survive that fall because they're 8 levels up by now. She's still in the fog layer. She's getting swarmed by all these hawk bats, cuts all over her body. She decides to stop the ascension gun, use her lightsaber to cut a hole into the window of the building that she's next to, swings through the opening. She lands in a shoulder roll, pops up into a defensive stance, ready to defend herself against the hawk bats, but it's just dark silence. Nothing but silence and darkness. So she's safe at this point. But she's also trapped in the lower levels of this abandoned building in the Crimson Corridor. She's got no comm link, no transportation, no Ulth. She just failed her mission. And that's where we leave her.
Damn.
She just is sitting there, got her ass kicked, failed the mission, lost her car, lost her communicator, and now she's stranded.
It's gonna suck.
Yeah, when I read her part, it made me think in this timeline, one of her peers would be Obi-Wan, and I was thinking, what would Obi-Wan have done if he was sent on this mission, and how would he have handled it? And I just think he would have handled it a lot better. I think he has so much more of a crowd presence and dominance than she does. Through so far,
his nickname is the Negotiator.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so interesting, action-packed chapters.
Which is because every time Obi-Wan goes to negotiate something, we pull a lightsaber and somebody dies, so there's not really a need to have a negotiation anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we leave off this one. We have Maui Lin going to look for Hathmon Char. We have Darth Maul, he's got a lead on Hathmon Char, and Darsha is stuck in a building.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Is that the end of yours, Joe?
That's it. That's what I did.
All right. Alex, do you want to go next?
I don't care, man. I can go next or I can go last, whatever.
Okay.
Do you have a preference?
You can go next. I can finish writing a couple little notes.
Okay. Mine, like, I know we're only doing a couple chapters, but mine is gonna be really short because it's basically just small little stub continuations of the chapters that came before. It's like Leah, Mara, and Jaina having thought reactions to what they just witnessed with the fucking meeting with the one guy who was a giant asshole, and then a little bit more of Jason and Luke discussing politics. And then we'll get to the new thing, like the only new thing that fucking happened in the 2 chapters I was reading. So the first one, pretty much like I set up, is the ladies, Jaina Solo, Leia Solo, Mara Jade Skywalker are all coming back from Ramamul and Osarian are the name of the planets. Basically that stalemated, deadlocked, just like they thought it was gonna. Leia was trying to be like politic and come over, and the setup is there's this really rich planet, Osarian, and they send slaves and tech to one of their neighboring planets, Ramamul, and it's basically like Earth and Mars. Osarian is like where plants and the biosphere is, and like there's clean air and a lot of room, and like it's a kind of idyllic garden world. It's nice to live there. And Ramamul is fucking Mars. There's like no atmosphere. It's nothing but fucking rocks. There's a shit ton of minerals, which is what people care about, which is why there's like a colony here to begin with, is because the only reason it exists is to mine this planet and send the shit back to Osarian so the Osarians can be rich. The Ramamulians are sick of this shit. They found a rabble rouser, a leader, this guy, Nom and Nor. There's a bunch of Noms. I'm thinking that's like a John in fucking Yuzon Vong or something, because there's Nom and Nor, Nom Sakat, Nom Tanner, Nom, like there's a bunch. It's a fucking thing. I don't know, maybe it's a rank. But Nom and Nor is the guy they picked on Ramamul to basically tell the Asarians to go fuck, we're not going to be your slaves anymore. But he's also taken it upon himself because he is secretly Yuzon Vong, and he's trying to like maximize the chaos he can cause in the galaxy. He's started a religion on the planet that's all anti-tech. Like they fucking stone 3PO droids to death in the city streets because you're a fucking droid and how dare you, and like you're not supposed to exist. Only things made out of meat that came from nature, and like they won't drive speeders, they'll only ride animals of the land, and if they don't have an animal of the land, like nature gave you legs for a fucking reason, and like all this kind of shit. And the guy Nom and Nor, like his whole thing is, his inner monologue is nothing but these people are morons. I don't believe any of this shit. Like, I hate technology because I'm Yuzon Vong, and I think it's gross and alien and fucking weird because all their technology is biotech. So it's another living organism I like stuff on my face, and now I have a spacesuit. Instead of like, I put a helmet made of glass and metal on, and now I have a spacesuit. And so it's really just like technology aversion for the Yuzon Vong. They have all the same stuff. They just don't like what we make our shit out of, and they think that's fucking gross and weird. So he like started this side religion over in this pocket of the Star Wars main galaxy that's all Luddite, anti-technology, while he's trying to pick a fight with this other planet that has missiles they can fire from their planet to hit the other planet. It's like they don't even have to send starfighters or people. They can just boop, fuck you, bye. And nobody on Nom Anor's side knows, but that's kind of what he's trying to do. He's kind of trying to get Osarian to push the big red fucking button and wipe these assholes off the face of the earth, because then he's just killed millions of fucking people and destroyed a star system and made it so that whenever the Yuzon Vong invasion kicks off, these assholes won't be able to like help defend the galaxy because they'll be dead or they'll be trying to crawl back from the brink. Accordingly, when Leia goes to try and have a conversation with him and like placate him and try and talk him into going back and talking with the Osarians, and maybe we can find a way to make like the 2 houses into one again, and like everybody can be chill. He's already decided like weeks before she got there that like, no, he's not going to do that. He literally called her out here to waste her time and piss her off. That was it. Like, that was it. And he straight up tells her to her face. He walks into the town, comes in, they have this big fucking thing with God, what was his name? The most disposable Jedi ever.
Oh
Husker, I think.
no, it was like, it was such a lame name too.
No, it really was. It's in my Dramatist persona. I'll go look it up in a minute so that we can get it right. But we already had the thing where the Jedi came out and ran off the fucking Ramamulians and was like, fuck you guys. And Leia freaked out on him because she was trying to set it up so that she would go talk to Nama Nor first because he was in the weaker position. And she's trying to be politic and like make everybody happy. And Nama Nor knew that was going to be her move and actually wanted the other guys to step in and start some shit with her because when she comes down to the planet surface and comes to talk to him, he literally like walks outside. And the two most important things about this meeting are he's done a shit ton of research into who Leia Organa Solo is and who her immediate family was. And so when she comes to meet him, she gets marched through the city streets and they make sure that she sees all the fucking droids getting stoned to death and all the technology getting burned and all that shit. And she's like, wow, you guys are going full caveman. Okay. And they like walk her through, take her to the palace or the manor house of the governor or whatever fucking structure he's moved in to assume control of. And he comes out in a full black leather body glove with knee-high black boots and big fucking black gloves and a long-ass black robe and a long-ass black cape with a big-ass black helmet that gives him kind of a triangular face on. So he came out cosplaying Darth Vader. Like, super fucking hardcore. On purpose, with no warning to Leia. So, like, Leia, who's traditionally presented as being, like, very polished and put together and aware and very good at her job, like, walks in and turns to be like, hey, so you're Nama Nor, and then there's just Darth Vader standing there, and she literally, like kind of locks up for a second and is like, wait, what the fuck? And, like, it's her Nagri bodyguard. That Zach also deals with some in his books.
Yeah.
Leans up and kind of pokes her in the butt and is like, that's not your dad. That's not Lord Vader. And kind of like settles back. And she's like, right, cool. And get your shit back together. And she clocks as a Jedi and like immaculate politician that this was all done on purpose to make her look kind of shitty and bad at her job. He rope-a-doped her into coming. Made sure she had no prior contact with him, didn't know what he looked like or, you know, what his style of dress was. And then when she showed up, he was basically cosplaying Vader super hard to throw her off. And it worked, and she kind of stumbled and wasn't as polished and perfect as normal. But she's very good at her job, so she just kind of recovers and starts going, hey, fuck it, like, cool, whatever, your fashion sense is your fashion sense. I don't give a shit. And was like, but do you want to go somewhere where we can talk about politics and stuff? Because they're standing on the front step, like, in front of a screaming crowd of people. And he's literally just like, no, we can talk here. And she's like, cool, let's go to your throne room. And was like, I'm not gonna. And he was like, no, we can talk right here. He's like, I'm not giving you any fucking deference. You don't get any respect from me. I won't indulge any of your preferences. I won't, like, tolerate anything you suggest. We're talking here. We're not talking at all. And so she's just kind of like, fuck, okay, cool. And was like, well, you seem pretty dead set on not listening to me and not having anything to say to me. And he was like, yeah, pretty much. And she was like, she does this 2 or 3 times, like, tries to start a conversation with him. And he literally just like, I don't give a shit, shut the fuck up. And so, like, she hits the 3rd or 4th attempt and stops and literally just like, did you call me down here to actually have a conversation, or are you just jerking off into the fucking wind? And he's like, basically, I'm jerking off into your face. So, no, I didn't call you down here to have a conversation. I called you down here to put you in your place and tell you that I don't fucking care about you or your republic or what your republic wants. You're all a bunch of lapdogs and cowards. I'm gonna do what you fucking pansies should have been doing. Now you can get the fuck off my planet. Bye. Like, literally. So she just kind of, why the fuck did I even bother to come out here? Okay, cool. Have a nice one. We'll leave the warship in orbit so you don't get any fucking stupid ideas. And she leaves. So that's pretty much what her chapter was just she's in the ship. They're flying back to Coruscant. And she's sitting there going, that was a massive waste of fucking time. Like, I literally got called out there, brought out from retirement to come back into politics to go try to fix this. And the guy told me as soon as I show up that, like, doesn't matter what you say, I'm literally against you. So, like, you're wasting your fucking time. So she's thinking about, like, what do I tell the council? What do I tell the Senate? What do I tell, like, our friends and family and shit? Because, like, I got jerked out there to be humiliated, which I don't really care about, but means that this guy is going for war and he's got a different plan that we don't understand or know about. So she's chewing that over. One of his little subplots during that conversation was the space disease that liquidates you at a molecular level if you're force sensitive. Their super weapon against the Jedi. Mara has contracted it, and so they're trying to figure out why she's not a pile of goo, because everybody else that has gotten it has died in like 6 weeks, and she's had it for like a year, and she's still solid and alive. She's a little weaker in the Force, and she's not as badass as she used to be, but she's still like, hey, I'm a solid body made out of meat, and I'm not fucking dying. So, as it turns out, Nama Nor is the guy that engineered that disease. Like, he's a biological weapons developer for fun. Like, that's his pastime. So he developed this disease and infected her with it, but she's not dead to it. So he's sitting there going, what the fuck, what's going on? Is she, like, naturally immune? I've got to get some more info. So he has these little lizards all over the castle that look like they're just like newts or whatever. They're little things he's genetically engineered, and they eat the spores of the disease thing. So his whole point in, like, putting them out is he's not sure, did I actually infect Mara Jade or not, because she's been alive for so long if she's been infected, that he let these little lizards out, because if she does have the disease in her body, when she breathes out, she'll breathe out the spores. So all the little fucking geckos will follow her around because she's a food factory, and they'll be super into her. So that happens. She doesn't pay any mind because she's not really, like, aware of what's going on. They walk in, have this really shitty conversation with Nama Nor, and in the background through the fucking conversation, she keeps, like, knocking little lizards off of her and being like, God, you guys have a fucking lizard problem. So we get back to the ship. Leia's thinking, man, that was a waste of time. Mara's like, they have a fucking infestation of lizards. That was fucking weird. I feel really sick. Like, I've had to put a bunch of force energy into not dying, so I'm gonna go, like, meditate and chill out. And so it ends up being just Leia and Jaina flying back to Coruscant. And that's just, like, kind of some thoughts I had from the first chapter. Like, Leia's a little dismissive of Jaina and a little, like, disinclined to trust her instincts or believe her reports, and that was rubbing me the wrong way, going, like, this is her fucking mom who's also Jedi trained, and, like, how is she not? And that's basically what Leia and Jaina do, is they have a conversation flying into Coruscant where Leia is like, you're a woman, and I need to just fucking accept that. Like, you're a full-blown Jedi, you're trained, you're a pilot, you have a lightsaber, you've probably killed a couple guys. Like, I need to just accept that you are an adult now. And when we're doing adult Jedi job stuff, I need to let you be a Jedi instead of trying to be your mom. And Jaina's like, hey, took you long enough. So that was pretty much their chapter. Next chapter is more Jason and Luke kind of falling off the political conversation from the last time, because they're leaving the Senate chamber after having been called in to be yelled at because the Jedi are running around all fucking loosey-goosey, just doing whatever they want. There's no council to oversee them, and that's pissing off the Republic, because what's actually pissing off the Republic is a lot of the senators and stuff are still crooked as fuck and working with criminals. And so the Jedi just running around doing whatever the fuck they want means that the Jedi are finding all of the illicit cargo operations and shit that the senators are supporting.
The illegal
and costing
spice.
them a bunch of money. So the Senate is calling in the Jedi Master to be like, you don't fucking police your guys and keep them in line, and there's no, like, governing body. Basically, you're costing us money. And Luke knew that, and wasn't really concerned about it, but it kind of blew Jason's mind that, like, oh my God, they're all corrupt. And Luke's like, yes, we're all corrupt. That's part of living. Like, self-interest will lead you to always do the things that leaves you in the best possible position, and there's no way to get around that. That's life's nature. So, yeah, everybody's fucking corrupt, and once you accept that, you can just start moving through the world a lot more easy, because even Jedi are corrupt. And so you have a little, like, Luke being like, it's okay, it's not as big a deal as you think it is, and Jason being like, this is an absolute violation of everything I've ever thought was right. So, like, they're having kind of a philosophical debate at this point, and Jason's kind of losing his shit, going like, it's not as black and white as I thought. It's not as, like, the Jedi are always the good guys as I thought. And Luke's going, no, it's not. And that's a lot of what becoming a master and getting higher level in the order and all that shit really is about, is you've got to come to understand that, like, nobody's as good or as bad as we think they are. So you've always got to be trying to find the actual core, the actual truth of the person or the place or the thing. Not just what you see, but what is actual. So you get a little, like, Jedi meditative political discussion about, like, hey man, I know it kind of freaks you out, but just take a breath. It's not as bad as you thought, and you will find a way through. And while they're doing that, they come to the spaceport, because obviously they flew to Coruscant. And they're going to their hangar to get into their ship, which is the Falcon. Now we actually meet some new people. Now we're actually doing something new in the book. It's not just talking about the first 2 chapters for 3 more chapters. We come walking into the spaceport. There's the Millennium Falcon in all of its glory, bucking and fucking flipping out, and, like, engines half firing, and, like, the ship lifting halfway off the ground and slamming back down and all this shit. Like, obviously having fucking problems. And as they're walking in, seeing all this, they can hear Han screaming and cussing, and they can hear Chewie roaring and cussing in Sherwook. And then they hear a little frail teenage voice going, it's just a ship! Now we get introed into Jason's little brother, Anakin Solo, who's my favorite, because he is described as looking identical to his father physically, having almost the same personality as his father as a teenager, and he comes equipped with a lightsaber.
So it's Han Solo with a lightsaber?
Yep, pretty fucking much. Named Anakin. But I had gotten the ages wrong. I think I said in a previous episode that the twins were like 17 or 18 or something. I was wrong. The twins are like 20 or 21. They are full-blown knights. They are still working with their master, but, like, they're full-blown knights. They're licensed to have weapons and fucking lightsabers and fly starships and all that shit. Like, they're full-on Star Wars adults at this point. Their little brother, Anakin, is 15. And because R.A. Salvatore is, at least from North America, I guess he couldn't help kind of culturally going to a place where Anakin's about to get his starship license because he's 15. He's about to be okayed by the government to go fly by himself and not have to have, like, a parent or somebody else in the ship with him. So, Dad has been letting him park the Falcon. When they, like, come in from orbit and land on a planet or whatever, he'll push back and be like, all right, Anakin, why don't you put us in the hangar? Because, like, you got to get some practice for your licensing and shit. And Anakin is all about it, and Anakin is his dad. So instead of, like, yeah, we'll just, like, kind of come in and, like, he's doing fucking corkscrews and diving around other fucking ships and coming in, like, half the speed of light and just being a crazy badass because he can and he likes flying. When he was doing that on the way in to drop off Luke and Jason for their fucking business meeting, he fried the engines. Hence, we have the Falcon freaking out and lighting off and trying to, like, half the ship take off, and it won't, all this shit. So, Han knows what's wrong and how to fix it. Chewie knows what's wrong and how to fix it. But Anakin is the one that broke it. So, the 2 adults are going, you're going to take your ass back in there, and you're going to learn what you did and what you broke and how to fix it, so that when we're not around and you do this shit again, you can fix the ship and move on.
Uh, what I don't get is like this so far in this timeline, like with how much the Han and Leia have had kids and stuff, blah blah. Blah. She's a princess. She's been in the Senate. He was a general. How have they not done a full like upgrade slash like remodel of the Falcon at this point?
Well,
with how much money that I'm sure
that-
they both have.
the way that I have always because the money is actually explainable. They have some lines and some books and some comics that talk about that Leia's royalty is really just a title.
Yeah, because her planet's gone.
Yeah, because there's nothing for her to draw on. So even though, yeah, she was royalty and her family did have a treasury and stuff, they don't anymore. And all of their business dealings are gone. And
Yeah, but
nobody who's like still left alive that was dealing with the Organas, they don't really give a fuck that Leia's out on her own. Sorry, kid. That's just how life is.
Not just that, but like she's been in the Senate for so long and had a physical job, like rebuilding the new republic.
Right.
And it's like,
right. And
they're politicians. Of course, they're going to make more than the average person because they're, stealing. So,
you go
but it's like,
read
I just don't
older books.
get how they upgrade the ship a little.
Well, okay, because like we're getting there. The money thing, she avoids the money. She had money and then her family died, so she doesn't have money anymore. And she made most of her way being a teenager with a big attitude and no fucking money. So now that she's an adult, she's like, I don't really need money. I've never needed money. I'm not hung up about money. So a lot like in real life when you're the what are they, the Supreme Chancellor or whatever, they give you a place to live and you get a little bit of money and stuff, but like it's not as much as you think. And Leia never took it. She was always like, I don't fucking need it, don't worry about it. Han, who would have and was actually in a couple books like, bro, that's free money, what the fuck are you doing? I'm poor and have been my whole life. She's always there going, yeah, and you've always made it. And you're one of the luckiest motherfuckers in the world. And everybody in the galaxy knows your fucking name and wants to be. So she kind of talks him out of being greedy all the time. So that's why they don't have a lot of money. Because she's always been like, I don't fucking need it. And anytime Han gets like, I could be fucking rich, she comes over and does the wife thing and is like, baby, you already are. Just let it go. And he's like, oh, fuck yeah. Okay, cool. The Falcon never being like repaired or put back right is because Han won't let them. And that's just what it is. Like there's I can't remember what the name of the book is, but Lando offers at one of the points somewhere during the New Jedi Order series of books, Lando becomes a very, very rich businessman. Like he is just fucking made of money. And at a certain point he runs into fucking Han and they run around and do some goofy shit and have a good time. And Lando's like, bro, let me detail this bitch. Like, I'll take it back to factory stock. And Han is like, I will stab you where you fucking sit. Like, don't you touch my goddamn ship ever. So, like, the ship not getting retrofitted is because Han is like, do not touch my fucking baby. I do this.
I mean, like, just fixing, like, a lot of the broken stuff, though. It's like, one of these days it's going to bite him in the ass. I mean, how many times in the actual movies have you seen it bite him in the ass where he's like, oh, fuck, we got to go fix something now. I mean, the start of Empire Strikes Back, they're fucking repairing it.
Yes, because that's always my thing, is that I think people get the wrong impression of Han. Because, like, from some of the movies and stuff and some of the books, like, a lot of people come out with this opinion that Han is, like, this fucking mechanical whiz kid, and he can fix anything, and he's, like, the best pilot ever, and he is a bullshit mechanic. He knows absolutely fucking dick about fixing ships and stuff. He just tries and gets lucky a lot. And he has a master mechanic with him,
Chewie,
who can put shit back together and make it work right, and comes along behind him going, God damn it. So it's one of these things where Han kind of even has this opinion of himself that, like, he's way more capable and talented than he actually is. Because, like, one of my all-time favorite Star Wars conspiracy theories is Han Solo is 100% Force sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
He has just...
I feel like he's been touched by the
trained.
Force.
I was gonna say he's just never been trained ever. I
think he doesn't have enough to be able to use Force powers. I feel like he's just got it enough to where he's able to escape dumb situations really lucky. Like the Force is like,
So-
hey, let me help this dummy a little bit, but he can't like lift boulders and shit. I don't think he's that strong. Because they
In the
say
tabletop.
everybody has the Force.
Well, they say that the Force touches all living things. They don't say that everybody has the Force. They just
didn't
say
give
that
it
the
my
Force
consent.
is part of everything that lives. Because, like, you have the Ysalamari from your books. Those
Mhm.
are alive. They don't have the Force. They, in fact, actively repel the Force, but they're touched by it because they're alive. So
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, okay, sure. In the way I've always explained it to myself, and like, feel free to pick this apart or like it or hate it or whatever, but I played a lot of the tabletop RPG in high school and in college, and the way they explain force powers is there's levels of like force sensitivity, and you have to be pretty far up the tree before you can start like move object and affect mind and all that fun shit. But even further down there, before that, there are baseline little powers that everybody gets through the force just by being like that much force sensitive.
I think he has danger sense or whatever.
It's like danger
Because
sense
he
and
always
shit.
says, I have a bad feeling, and then some shit happens.
And that's how I've always done it. Is
I feel like
according
he's
to the-
definitely touched in that spot with the Force. Like,
yeah,
very aware.
In the TTRPG, if you don't take a class level in something that specifically features a force power, you're always considered untrained. You have the force and like you might feel, but you can't do anything with it because you haven't actually found any type of framework that will help you understand how to like activate and become capable of using your powers. But you still have these baseline powers like danger sense, and the other one is called enhanceability. Those times where hands flying and all of a sudden he just fucking zones out and becomes the Iceman and can do things in a ship that no other human being can fucking do, and he can just one right after the other like it's fucking nothing. In the tabletop RPG, that would be hand dumping all of his force points into enhanceability decks. I am one with the force. I don't even have to think about this. I'm just gonna fly like a fucking bat out of hell. So like the way I've always explained it to myself is hands force sensitive, never ever went into a force class ever. So all he's got is like danger sense and enhanceability, and that's how he's made his way. Is I get a bad feeling about this, and that's always a bad thing, so he trusts it and he just fuck off. I'm not gonna go walk down that alley or get into that trap or whatever. And if he's stupid and does anyway, enhanceability, I'm gonna run. So like that's how I explain Han doing all the shit he does in the books and having all this, and why all of his kids are like god-powered Jedi, because well yeah, she's a Skywalker, but she's a Skywalker who married another Force ninja, so like they have crazy Force kids. But anyway, we've got Han, Chewie, and Anakin on the landing pad trying to fix this ship. Jason and Luke walking down to it. Luke blowing Jason's mind about like real world philosophy and how nobody is as good or evil as you think they are, and you got to be willing to kind of work your interpretations as you go. And we come to this scene with, it's called Teenagers, I think is the name of the chapter. And Jason is just trying not to laugh the entire fucking time because, like, the person causing all of the turmoil in the scene is his little brother. And he thinks this shit is hilarious, so he's just, like, kind of off in the background trying to keep himself, like, from making it worse for anybody. Luke is laughing and being sad and thinking about how he always wanted to have kids, but how Mara is sick. And he doesn't really want to think about that right now, the kids thing, because he doesn't know how much longer Mara's going to be around. And then we get what happened to the ship. Well, Dad let Anakin practice flying for his fucking test, and he got all hot doggy with it, trying to park it. And he's fried some of the engines and fucked up some of the navigation. So, as a lesson in responsibility, Han and Chewie, who can fix this, are making Anakin fix it. Like, you fucking broke it, you go do the work, you figure out how to repair this. And Luke and Jason show up just as Anakin, being 15, hits his 15-year-old limit and is like, fuck this shit, I don't fucking care. And so, like, he's coming down the fucking gangplank and he's throwing tools and he's like, I don't give a shit. It's just a stupid fucking ship. It's older than Dad. Why can't we just get a new one? Like, popping off like that. And he's about at the end of the gangplank, and this arm described as being almost as long as Anakin is tall and almost as thick as he is at the waist just comes out of the fucking ship and grabs him by the back and fucking lifts him up, and you hear, and then fucking Chewie walks down and is holding Anakin up and fucking screaming at him. And Anakin is looking back at him like, it's just a stupid fucking ship. Why are we all hung up about it? Mom could just go buy us a new one, right? Like, you know, kind of like you were talking, like, he's freaking out being spoiled and rich and yelling about, why do I have to fix it? It's just a stupid thing, blah, 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 blah. So Chewie reaches up while he's holding him and takes his lightsaber off of his fucking belt and puts it in his mouth. And it's just like, like that. And Anakin is like, fuck, okay. When you put it like that, I get it. Falcon's important to you. I will quit being a little bitch. I will focus up. I will go make this right for Uncle Chewie. And Chewie just kind of looks at him and is like, yeah, and puts him on the ground and then holds the lightsaber as if to say, you get this back when it's fixed, and sticks it in his little chest rig and walks off. And Anakin's just like, it's just a stupid fucking ship. And then goes back up the gangplank, picking up the tools he was throwing and shit to go try and work on it. And Han comes down, seeing this and watching it, kind of being like, yeah, all right, cool. My fucking hetero life partner over there has got this shit managed. So he looks at Anakin, and Anakin's going back, and don't you come back out until that inertial damper works, you know, like being a dad. And he turns around and sees Luke, and Luke is just trying not to fucking laugh because here's Han Solo being an authority figure. And so Luke's just back there like this, and Han turns around and looks at him and is like, I don't want to hear a fucking thing. And then they go walking down the gangplank together to, like, go gather materials, shit to pack into the ship. And, like, as they're grabbing boxes, fucking Han just looks up at Luke and goes, teenagers. And that's the last line in the chapter.
That was a good chapter.
And that's the most, like, exciting thing that's happened so far. We've had a lot of boring talking, and then we got to see fucking Han and Chewie, and that's always fun.
I like how Chewie's just the big uncle. Get your ass back up in there.
Yes.
So you
the
ain't
fucking
done.
him being like, it's just a fucking ship, and then he takes the lightsaber and is like, I will bite this fucking thing in half. And he's okay, I get it.
All right. You got any more, or is it me? All right. So I'm starting off with chapter 17. Some of the main characters in it: Mara Jade, Thrawn, Antilles Wedge, and Pelion. So the chapter starts with Mara. She lands at a spaceport, Adragadago Ray spaceport. She basically describes it as like, so when she comes out and she's walking, she's looking around and she's all like, wow, this place is, it's really beautiful and stuff. And then, it's a front. It's, everything's like a poster, it's all made to look beautiful and shiny. But she describes how the underside of it is, how did she describe it? Held together by wire and blaster batteries. It's just like, it's painted to look beautiful, but then you walk behind the scene and it's all just shit. It's all people getting mugged and all kinds of stuff, crazy crap like that. And she makes her way down to Landing Pit 21 to pick up this ship called the Either Way. Some guy had it before and ended up leaving it in Landing Pit 63. His name was Fionn, Fynn Trove, I guess. he left it there, and then they like repossessed it and moved it into another deal. And so she goes and picks it up, and she's kind of being aware of her surroundings, you know, because they're kind of wanted by Thrawn and stuff for what they did with helping Luke escape and all that in the previous book. And so she goes in there, she goes into the landing area, and she sees the ship, so she's like walking up to it, and some gentleman comes out of the ship and is, you know, like talking to her, and he's like asking her, you know, a little bit about the ship, if she kind of knows about it. He's basically trying to sell her a ship, you know, are you here to like buy a ship or something? And that's when he reveals he's Wedge, and he was sent by Han Solo from a couple systems over to basically give her this ship, because it was part of their agreement for them being able to escape in the last book with Luke and all them. He offered to give Card and Mara, you know, a ship and stuff to kind of help them out. So they're kind of talking a little bit, and she's, you know, trying to tell him to, you know, keep his voice down because they might hear us. He's like, nah, nobody's going to hear us. I got droids all around working and stuff, making a lot of noise, so nobody can pick us up on comms or, you know, surveillance stuff. And they're talking, and he asked her if what was it? He tells her that Solo's sorry he can't be there. He's on some kind of special mission, but the ship is hers, and he had to do some bribing to the upper people to have them move the ship from another deal to that one. What you got?
You were saying that Wedge was the guy, and he's obviously in like disguise and stuff, and he's hey, I've got this ship. This is taking place when Wedge is actually like a spy now, right? Because that's like the other part of his career.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, they haven't really said much about him being like doing spy stuff. He was just a couple systems over, and Han was like, hey, can you do me a favor? And so he kind of flew in, and he's kind of like undercover, kind of doing spy stuff in a way for him. But then he has to get back to his squad, because he's in charge of Rogue Squad.
Yeah, because like everybody knows Rogue Squad, and that's, you know, fucking Wedge. He's the badass.
Yeah.
I just remembered, and I think actually this might be like the very beginning of it, so I might be jumping the gun a little bit. Like, he's one of the few characters in Star Wars that like starts as a thing. I'm a fucking Jedi pilot, badass ace. He's not a Jedi. He's a fighter pilot ace, and he's better than Luke. And then like 30 years into existing, somebody got a hold of him and went, wait a minute, you know, he's got all these other skills and all this other shit he could be doing, and decides that like at 60 years old, Wedge becomes a spy. So like, I really think that's a neat development of the character and a neat thing to do with the character. So I was just kind of wondering, was he actually like officially a spy yet, or is this just him like,
I don't think he was officially a spy.
What you were saying,
yeah, I think he was just doing the favor for Han, since he couldn't be there, because they were at New Cove, and then they got attacked by the Empire, and that's when they went to with the dreadnoughts to whatever the planet that the senator is from Corellia. So basically, you know, they talk a little bit more, and he's just like, all right, you know, I'm gonna dip. I've done my part. And she just says, you know, like, whatever, because she's, you know, kind of snobby. She's a very attitude driven kind of lady. She's very bossy. Very, I'm not going to take anybody's shit kind of thing. So she gets in the ship, goes to fly off, and she like, you know, is getting up above the deal, and she starts taking off, and she gets like this weird sense, the force powers kind of kicking in, and because she's always been like worried that the Empire's coming after them, because they're on like the down low, they're hiding and shit, because when they betrayed Thrawn, he came back to the planet that they were on with all those force preventing little creatures. What were they? Yagoris or something like that.
I want to pronounce it as Ysilamari because it starts with a YSS.
Yeah, it's like a
I'm not
weird
positive
name,
that's how you say that.
but they, they betrayed him and stuff, and he comes back to the deal. Well, they had already escaped, and they were watching from like a meteor, a meteor belt out in the middle of space, and that's when she got another hit of like basically danger sense, and she told them to punch it into hyperdrive, and they took off, and as the Star Destroyer came up, but so she's kind of having that same sense again. She's like, something's feeling off, and that's when out of nowhere over the horizon, a Star Destroyer shows up, and she's like, fuck, I'm caught. Because for the ship to power up to hyperspace and stuff, it takes too long, and by the time then they would have her in a tractor beam and all that. So she just decides, fuck it, I'm gonna hail him. And she calls him, and she's like, hey, my name's Mara Jade, and this is what you're gonna do, and you're gonna go get your captain. And the guy's all kind of confused, and she's like, let me repeat it, go get your captain so I can tell him this. And so the dude on the intercom or the phone thing goes and gets the captain, and she basically gives him a message to give to Thrawn. She says, tell him the the code is Hasper, Baran, Corbalon, and Traxus. And there's like a moment of silence, and the captain asks, in your name? And she kind of sits there for a second, and then she replies, tell him that he knew me as the Hand of the Emperor. Which is like, I think like, he had Vader and stuff, and she was basically like, she was almost like a, what do they call him now? Inquisitor. I feel like she was like basically an Inquisitor or like an acolyte, because she wasn't technically a full apprentice. But it was pretty cool. And then it cuts to the chapter, like a little time skip, because it takes a while for them to get her docked on there, and they go and meet up with Thrawn on the Chimera. And so he's like, creepy Thrawn. He's sitting in his little chamber with his chair and the lights off and little art floating around and stuff. And she enters the room, and she tells him, I'm here to speak with you and all this and that. And Thrawn's like, how do I know you're the Hand of the Emperor? I'm gonna test you, basically. And she's like, well, I was there the night that, the Emperor threw a little party, but we all knew the real party was like for him being promoted to the Grand Admiral. And he's like, well, how do I know you're there? She's like, well, I was one of the, I think she said she was one of the dancers or something like that. And he's like, okay, well then he's like, I remember. He's like, what kind of shoulder piece were you wearing? And she's like, well, I was just wearing a shoulder piece. And he goes, no, point it out. And like pushes a button, and like 100 different holograms of like shoulder pieces appear. And he's like, basically it almost reminded me of Indiana Jones, like pick the right cup, because I feel like if she'd have picked the wrong one, he probably would have just killed her.
Yeah.
So
she chose wisely.
And the cool basically she did. She chose wisely, but she couldn't use her force powers because they had those creatures all over the ship. So I mean, I don't think she is carrying a lightsaber or anything. I think they probably took all of her weapons away, so she probably doesn't have anything. So he probably could have killed her pretty easy.
Did she give Luke's dad's lightsaber back, the one that he lost on Bespin? Because if she did that, then she doesn't have a lightsaber, because that was the only lightsaber she had until she made her own.
No, she doesn't have anything. She didn't give him anything. She took his lightsaber at one point in the first book when she had him in the handcuffs after their ships crashed in the woods. So she picks the right one, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let's talk. And she's like, I'm willing to cut a deal with you. I will go back to Card, and I will get the information that he has on the Katana fleet. And that's when Thrawn's eyes get all kind of, bright, and he gets kind of excited. The legendary fleet that went missing, the 100 or whatever, 200 dreadnoughts. And he's like, okay, I'm listening. She's like, I will get all the information. And she says, I will give you the location. Cause I guess Card was when he was younger, was on a ship, and they did a deal and it went bad, and they ended up hyperspace skipping and came across the fleet for a split second before they took off again. And luckily he was the guy who was working like the nav. So he wrote down the coordinates kind of in a general area. And, then it skips to like now. So like he's older. He knows where it's at, kind of. He knows of the area. And she's willing to trade that information for Thrawn to drop the basically bounties on Card and all of his people, and to leave them alone, because she likes working with them. She's been with them for so long, and actually put in the work to like rise up through the ranks and stuff in his little gang. They're basically just smugglers. And he's like, I'm thinking about it, and he's like, I'll agree to it. You got like 8 days, and she's like, well, it'll take me like 3 days to get there or something like that. And he's like, well, I guess you better leave now then. Telling her she's only got a certain amount of time. And they agree upon the deal, and they leave. And Thrawn's talking with Pelion a little later, and he's all like, the tracker you put on the ship is working. He goes, okay. He's like, good. Make sure we can still track her. He says, I know exactly what she's gonna do. She's gonna hyperspace out of here. She's gonna land on a planet, hyperspace to another planet, and come back to wherever Card's hiding. So she can kind of like trick him, throw him off the trail kind of thing. And he's like, we'll just tail her the whole way, which is weird. It's like, I would notice a Star Destroyer tailing me, but so they're tracking her, and he's like, so you're not going to like honor your agreement kind of thing, your agreement deal. And she's like, Thrawn's like, no. He's like, she's been away from the Empire too long that if she tries to come back in, because she said she would, once she got the information and brought it back, she would rejoin the Empire as the Emperor's hand and serve with Thrawn and all that. And he's like, nah, talking with Pelion, he's like, she's been gone for too long. She's basically irrelevant. He doesn't even need her anymore. He's just going to track her to wherever they are and surround them and get the information himself, and then just kill them all, because he doesn't need any of them. And she's pretty much useless to him, is what he's getting at. But she doesn't know there's a tracker on the ship, or at least I don't think she knows there's a tracker on the ship. And that's kind of like where this chapter ends, and then we go over to chapter 18. It starts off, this one's a split chapter, so it's half Leia and half Han and Lando. So like the beginning part of the chapter, you got Leia and Chewie sitting in the Matakara house, and they're kind of like just going over plans, like what the hell are we going to do? How are we going to get out of here? They took the ship. They've got Kabarak like chained up in the town square, and he was their pilot to get them out of there. So they're trying to figure out what they can do. And that's when the Montekar shows up, the like chieftain lady, Kabarak's mother. And she's all, asking them, how's it going? And they're like, oh, we're kind of working on a plan. And Chewie, of course, being Chewie, he's like, let's just blow shit up. He's like, let's blow shit up and steal a ship. And Leia's like, no, we're not going to blow stuff up. They've already struggling enough. We don't need to just draw too much attention and get them all in trouble. And, let's see. Leia kind of talks with the Matakara. She basically tells her that like Thrawn is using them, and that and she's tired of people dying helping her and stuff, and it's her responsibility to save them from Thrawn. And the Mataka is like, she's like, our Lord Grand Admiral Thrawn wouldn't be so mean to us. He wouldn't like bomb our cities or attack us or, a mass execution. And Leia just kind of like gets real close, like up in her face, and just stares her dead in the eyes. And she's like, the Empire blew up an entire world because of me. She's like, they will kill you. She's like, I don't want that to happen again. Talking about Alderaan and stuff. And so they kind of have philosophy battles back and forth about what the right thing to do is. And they kind of come to like an agreement that the best thing to do is for Leia and Chewie to break Kabark out, steal a ship, and get the hell out of there. And they kind of finally come to an agreement on it. And that's kind of where their part of the chapter ends, when they're about to go do something. I thought it was weird. They didn't have C-3PO kind of in the background doing stuff. So he's kind of probably just roaming around somewhere. But then it cuts over to like Han and Lando's chapter, where they're kind of floating above like they describe it as like a ghastly brown planet. They're just kind of floating in space because they get a call from Winter, who is, she's almost like a, how do I describe it? Like an assistant to Leia, kind of lady.
An au pair.
What's that?
Winter is the twins' nanny.
Oh, so she becomes the twins' nanny later on?
Who comes with a lightsaber, force powers, and a crazy-ass husband and a secret planet. So, like, Winter is all kinds of weird shit. I didn't ever know how she got linked up with Leia. So this part right here is actually like super cool. I guess I just totally phased out this fucking part of the book or forgot it or something. But like, I remember Winter is she takes care of the kids later on when Leia can't.
Yeah, and she finally gets a hold of like Han and Lando and is like, I've been trying to get a hold of you guys forever, Of course, they were on a planet not near their ships or anything, talking with the Senator and stuff after fleeing from Star Destroyers and being stuck in hyperspace for like 4 days. She's like, hey, I got a message from Luke. Kind of weird. It's not a holo message, not a voice message. It's a letter. He sent a letter. And it basically says, hey, come back to the New Cove, which is the planet that they got into the little fight with the Empire on already, and meet them basically back at the bar. And Lando and Han think it's just kind of weird that he would send a message like that instead of like calling. And so they're like, all right, fuck, let's turn around and go back to this planet for the third time. They go back and land. And as they're like walking down the plank, Lando's just like, he sees this guy standing there and Lando's in disgust. He fucking hates this guy. It's Frere, the ship thief, the one that, if you remember from a few chapters ago, Thrawn hired him to go steal ships and basically told him that if you don't steal my ships, I'll blow you up. If you come back without any ships, I'll blow you up. You try to flee, I'll blow you up. He basically told him, you work for me now, and scared him. And basically he holds his main ship and I think his crew hostage or something like that, or some of his crew, and makes him go out and do stuff. But he contacts him and basically has him meet Han and Lando there. He's the one that sent the letter, not Luke, because Luke is on that planet with Jokarth. And he's nowhere even near that place. And they're kind of talking, and he's like, Han's like, hey, Luke, how are you? Being sarcastic, smart ass. And he's like, well, if I'd have told you who I was, you wouldn't have come. So I had to do this. And so they're kind of standing there, and Lando hates this guy. He's like, what do you want? Why'd you call us? What are we doing here? Kind of thing. And he's like, well, I have some information for you. I'd like to trade, for, being able to get some ships from the New Republic. and they're like, well, we're not really interested, kind of thing about, him stealing ships and stuff. And he's like, well, what about if it's the Katana fleet? And then that's when they kind of stop and look at him. And they're like, well, what do you know about the Katana fleet? And he's like, well, I don't know the location of the guy who knows where they're at, but I know his name. And I'm willing to trade that information for a percentage of the ships that, I'm going to sell, that I'll sell to you out of the Katana fleet. Basically trying to like bargain with them. And they're like, well, how about you just give us the name and we'll go check it out, make sure it's all legit. And then we'll give you, a small percentage, thanking you for letting us, get these ships and stuff. And he's just not really kind of buying it and stuff. He's like, well, there's other people out there that may want this information and stuff, and they're like, well, like who? And he's like, he brings up Grand Admiral Thrawn. And that's when like Han kind of smirks a little bit. And so they're kind of talking a little bit more and they can't really come to an agreement. And they basically, Han and Lando kind of just tell him to, piss off. And they go to get back on their ship. And they're sitting there in the cockpit. And they're kind of discussing, should we trust him in that? And that's when Han brings up, he's like, how does he know about Thrawn? He's like, nobody knows who Thrawn is, other than the people in the New Republic and stuff because he was just, at the time, he was a mysterious Grand Admiral that just came out of nowhere and nobody could find information. And I don't even think they found out who he was until the end of the very first book, like an actual name to go with the person. And that's how he knows Freyr, or however you pronounce his name, is working with the Admiral, Grand Admiral. And they know it's some kind of trap. And so Han and Lando kind of just start up the ship and stuff, and they get ready to take off. And they leave. And then that's when Freyr kind of goes over to his guy and he asks him, hey, did you get the tracker set up while I was talking to him and stuff? And they're like, yeah, the signal's strong and everything. We're tracking him. And he's like, good, we'll follow him. Cause I think they're trying to find out where the senator is. So they can ask him where he got the three or four dreadnoughts he has, try to steal his ships and stuff. Not really a whole lot in these kind of chapters, just kind of, a lot of talking and going back to the same planets. Like this is their third or fourth time at New Cove. So nothing too crazy. But that's really all I have for those two chapters. Nothing exciting.
Seems like Joe got all the new hotness stuff coming out, like we're gonna change scenes and you and I got a whole bunch of, hey, you remember that shit we were doing on the back page? Yeah, let's talk about that some more.
A lot of talking and passing time and then talking again, which really I actually enjoyed. I enjoy the Mara part of the Mara chapter. It was pretty cool. It kind of showed a whole nother side of her that you didn't really see a whole lot of, but you knew was there. And then it just shows you also how clever Thrawn is and cutthroat he is at the same time. Like fuck this bitch, I don't care. I'm gonna track her and then I'm just gonna get the information I want. I'm not gonna wait 8 days, for her to maybe tell me and then dip or not. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah. I'll just go and interrogate him myself. And then the Leia portion of the chapter, it was kind of okay. It was just that was all just them talking. No action, nothing. The funniest part was Chewie just like, let's blow shit up. Let's steal shit. He's like, I'm ready. And then you had Han and Lando. I enjoy their chapters together just because of their bantering back and forth. And I mean, it's two smart asses talking to each other. It's pretty funny. But that's really all I have for those two chapters. Not a whole lot. I think the next chapter is like another Leia chapter. Nothing too exciting.
I know the next stuff coming up in my book, we're going to see Maui Lin, Darth Maul, and Lorne Pavon and Hath Char all in that bar. They're all going to meet up.
That's gonna be
So
cool.
that's going to be, yeah, that'll be really interesting.
I wonder if that person that fell survived.
Wolf, the Black Sun informant, I don't know. It doesn't confirm that he's dead, but they just kind of imply it. So I'm thinking it could go either way.
Did he have a name?
Wolf, Oolth, Wolf.
Okay. I
'Cause
like
normally like we're not super deep into writing the criminal syndicates very well, in my opinion. They tend to be kind of like copy paste bad guys, because usually we're like, it's a new Sith Lord or a new type of alien or a new whatever. There are a couple books out there, and I think they mostly have to do with Mara Jade and some of the other, like, I play it close to the vest kind of operators that do get into, like, Dash Rendar has some dealings with the fucking Black Sun and Prince Caesar and how they're set up and how they're actually, like, a galaxy-wide criminal syndicate, and you probably don't want to fuck with them and stuff. Like, so when it comes down to their goons, if he doesn't have like an immediately memorable name, or he doesn't like seem to be important, and they're like, and he gets shot in the face, probably he's dead.
Yeah, that like with the Raptor gang members, they don't have names. They're just referred to as the stocky Godel or the Trandoshan. You know, the green
The
Mohawk
fucking
guy.
goon with the pig nose. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how Darsha ends up. I mean, we really see the lack of experience, the lack of confidence that comes from the lack of experience with her. I mean, crowd control is a big thing, and she did not have that.
No, and there's a very famous type of character in Star Wars, which is I'm a Jedi who's not real good at being a Jedi, and then eventually they stop trying to be a Jedi and they become like super fucking badass. So I'm wondering if that's kind of like what we're stepping into with her.
Yeah, they definitely paint the picture of her in the book as somebody who's not full of confidence, but knows that she has skills. But yeah, even before, I mean, this is why her master said that this is going to be a dangerous mission, and he's worried about her. 'Cause this is how it went. I mean, imagine that. You're not even a full Jedi Knight. You just got your ass kicked. Your car's jacked. You got no communicator. Dude, you're supposed to save is probably dead, and now you're stuck in an abandoned building. I mean,
and there's an armored rat on the loose.
Yeah, the armored rat's still there because she didn't kill it. She just kind of zapped it a little bit with the tip of her lightsaber. Yeah. Had some cool dialogue in the book with Darth Maul and that bartender. The way the bartender describes Lord Pavon kind of sounds like I got two different actors in my head. One is Tom Ellis from Lucifer, either him as Lord Pavon or the guy that played the Bear Jew in Inglourious Bastards.
Eli Roth.
Eli Roth, thank you. Yeah, tall, dark, handsome, muscles.
So you want the guy? So who are you fan casting?
It's either going to be Tom Ellis from the show Lucifer or Eli Roth.
Is Tom Ellis Lucifer on Lucifer?
Yes. Yeah.
And this is for what Star Wars character again?
Lorne Pavon. It's when Darth Maul is saying, what does this Lorne Pavon look like? And then the Baragouin bartender says, he's tall, muscular, black hair, or they actually say black filamentous cilia on his head, but not his face. Brown, I put eyes, but like photoreceptacles or whatever words they use to kind of fancy up the word eyes. And then said, females of his species would call him handsome. I'm like, well, those are the two guys that I would think of, Eli Roth and Tom Ellis.
I don't have any new characters. Well, I mean, I have teenage characters, but fucking whatever. Like, all my characters. Well, Luke looks like Luke. He looks a lot like that Mark Hamill guy.
Yeah, that seemed like a pretty smiley chapter. One you just read that's just like, just lighthearted, uppity feeling. Mine's been like super pretty dark,
Well, I don't know if we want to like.
Yeah, one other little fun fact that I came across with Darsha's ascension gun in Phantom Menace, when towards the end, when Queen Amidala is with her security detail and they're kind of cornered and they have to go outside the window, and then they use an ascension gun to go up to the next levels. So we actually can see that used in the films. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because Ascension Gun makes me think of like a fucking Pokemon laser you're gonna shoot somebody with, and they're going to evolve into their final form. You know? Not like a fucking
Not a grappling hook.
Because you pointed out something that's always bothered me about Star Wars, but I've also always found kind of fucking amusing about Star Wars is the segmented cilia on his head, not on his face, and dark brown photo receptacles and shit. Come the fuck on. Like, yes, I get it that they're other species and they're like even different languages for the same species and all that kind of shit, and that's why we would have picked eyes. Okay, we would have picked eyes to be like the fucking like Esperanto of Star Wars land, where everybody speaks like, they call it basic in this. Basic is the trade language. That means nobody actually speaks this. We made it up so that we could all talk one language together. We would have picked eyes. We would have picked eyes, not
Brown
receptacles. We would have picked eyes.
No, brown ocular pigmentation is how they described it.
It's just, Star Wars is so weeby, and I love it for that. Like, for having to be, you know, talk about, we gotta name hair something different.
Yeah, all the common shit. They in the previous chapters where they were talking about Lauren Pavan's studio apartment, you know, the nano wave instead of a microwave, and there was another one they used for a refrigerator, but like food preserver or whatever they called it. But yeah, I like the different names that they give for things that are just common to us.
Yeah.
Keeps the immersion while you're reading.
I like how mine's not creative at all. Here, Luke, here's hot chocolate. Here's some brandy. It's like, oh, okay.
Well,
just have
because
regular stuff.
Your shit was written by what's his name? You're reading the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah,
so,
Timothy Zahn.
Timothy Zahn is one of the few Star Wars writers who has written a fuckload of stuff for the universe, really created new characters, new worlds, new like cultures. Like, he has done a lot of heavy lifting for the world, but where he absolutely full stop refuses to play is naming shit other shit. He's just like, no, it's not the fucking nanowave, it's the fucking microwave. No, it's not goddamn Sonorian bourbon, it's brandy. Like, I'm not coming up with fucking words for shit. We have all this. Now, if you come up with a new weapon, or he comes up with like a new star system, or like he'll participate and start naming and like make it, but little stuff like we were just talking about, he's like, those are fingernail clippers. It's what we call them. Okay, yeah. Okay, sure, dude. Anything you want.
I like how it's just a touch of like realism too. It's like to make you like, oh, okay. Well, they have that. I have that. That's kind of cool. It's similar. You know,
not every. I forget what that law is called. It's like a theoretical rule for creating a universe in literature. Not everything they have is going to be different from what we have. They're gonna have some of the same shit. Like,
oh yeah, look at Lord of the Rings.
A lot of it. I say a lot of it will be different, but a lot of it will be familiar and comfortable, and you could call brandy and move on. But like, you know, Timothy Zahn is one of those, like, he wrote. He didn't like make his bones on Star Wars. He made his bones being an author, and then Star Wars contacted him and was like, hey, you're really good at this. Do you want to like maybe make a paycheck doing this? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then there's like Kevin J. Anderson, who wrote all of the fucking Young Jedi Knight series and part of the Yuzon Vong invasion and part of the thing that came after the Yuzon Vong invasion. He pretty much exists as a Star Wars writer. That's like where he started making money, where he like started publishing books and shit. So he uses all the right nomenclature. He calls it the nano wave. He knows like model numbers for types of air speeders and shit. Like he's... Everything is right sounding Muppets with Kevin J. Anderson, but it's also a little cartoony, like the quality. It's not bad. It's just, it's what I like to call four-color versus grimdark. Zahn is very grimdark. We're gonna like, it's real. I want to talk about some stuff. There might be like some horrible fucking space disease involved in my story, or like the kind of shit like Mara comes up with. We've got to get Luke Skywalker, the most famous guy in the world, past some 5-0. And like his pictures on every fucking corner,
So they
everybody knows who
rub
he is.
poison
How do we
ivy
do
on his
this?
face.
We're gonna fucking rub something he's got an allergy to all over his face and really like fuck up his whole existence for days so that we can get him past people looking at his face, because I've got medicine and he can survive this. And like, that's a level of nasty.
There's no
and
hiding
painful
his
to-
face at that point. This is
Yeah,
the
I
dude
mean,
who
like-
killed the Emperor and Vader.
Yeah.
To
Hi,
their
public
knowledge.
enemy number one.
Yeah.
And so like, that she thought of doing something so disfiguring and so painful, and that it was based in medicine, that she knew he was going to have a really painful reaction to this, and was like, fuck it, you'll live. That's, it's pretty grim dark, whereas Kevin J. Anderson is a little more like Superman and fucking brightly colored lightsabers, and like, they still tell good
Why he
tales.
does the Jedi Knight series.
The what?
That's why he does the Jedi Knight series and not these darker ones.
Well, and I mean, yes and no, because like he's got the ability. He's the one that kills Anakin. He's the one that kills a bunch of people. Like he's written some deaths and he's got some punch to him. It's just he doesn't really want to talk about like. There's obviously drug addicts in Star Wars. They have their versions of coke and stuff, and like they live
Yes.
shitty lives, and it sucks to be a drug addict. Timothy Zahn, he's gonna talk about that shit. He's gonna make one of those guys like a main fucking character. He's gonna be how you get some of your info, because you exploit him and his drug dependency to get the info out of him. Kevin J. Anderson is just going, I hired a hacker. Okay. It hangs. It fulfills the same need. You get the info, but like we didn't get a whole chapter about this guy and his multiple fucking health failings and his addiction to his drug and how other people are like grinding him down to get the we just had and I hired somebody like that. That's kind of the difference. Is Zahn is way more willing to go like, what would somebody have to do to get this done? I'll talk about the nitty gritty of it and just kind of make it Star Wars flavored. And Kevin J. Anderson is going, if it's not immediate, like part of the prepackaged Star Wars ideal, I'm just going to kind of hand wave it. Somebody hired a hacker, somebody hired a pilot, somebody did whatever. Now we can get back to lightsabers and laser guns and doing the hero thing. And like, I like them both. I really do. It's just Timothy Zahn writes better, like, I call it street level Star Wars stuff that Mara's doing right now. It's really important. Like, it has to get done, or we're gonna go back to the Empire and a bunch of fucked up shit. But it's not flying the Death Star trench and blowing it up. It's like sneaking around back rooms and making deals with people and offing some prick before he tells other people what you're gonna like. That's kind of where Zahn's at. Like, he wants to really build an experience, and fucking Kevin J. Anderson's over here just kind of going, I'm trying to get you to the big points. Let's go to the set pieces. Let's have the big fights in space.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I like it so far. I think he's a pretty good author.
I'm liking all of your books so far. I've read mine. Honestly, I think that's the most fun I'm having, is I've never read Joe's book, so everything Joe has to say, I'm just like, this is fucking great. Like, I don't know
Well, I mean,
shit about this. This is awesome.
It's Darth Maul. It's like, that's one of the coolest fucking characters in the prequels.
Yeah, exactly.
His first entrance, when he fucking just appears in that doorway. Everyone's like, oh, cool. Oh, shit, there's two. It's like one end or the other.
Yes. That
What
was
is- what
the,
is
the
that?
fucking like pose that he takes on purpose. It's like, wait, that's a weird way to hold it. There's two.
Everyone thinking it's like a pike saber or something, and then another end comes out. Oh no.
Okay. We're all big fans of Star Wars. We all like alternate lightsabers. What is the one type of lightsaber alternate build you have seen that you just refuse? That you're just like, fuck no, never happened.
Kylo Ren's.
That is way too flat. Like, why? We had you.
The little things that come out the side that would never. No.
It's called
You're gonna-
Guard, and All Swords in History had one.
Yes,
Well,
but they're not made out of like pure energy that was just going to slit your wrist every time you
So,
spin it around or something.
he's got like
And you notice
little.
that he doesn't spin his lightsaber.
Which is okay. I still think is ridiculous. That would never be a thing.
So
I
Never,
think it
never,
is a
never.
thing because
he's
it's a
got
cross
the
guard.
he's got the little deals that stick out here before the blade comes out. So like,
Yeah.
what if he fought somebody like Dooku, who's like literally one of the most skilled swordsmen, and was able to just cut his saber at I mean, perfect, like right in there, right at the metal groove, and just fuck his whole saber up. I mean,
Well,
that seems a
the
little
question to that-
impractical.
The question of that then becomes, well, Dooku could do that to Ben, then why wasn't he doing that to Obi-Wan and to Anakin and to every other fucking lightsaber that has this much open space between your fucking hands? Because if he can go "Brr," and take like a side spur off that your fingers are resting against without taking your hand off, then he could absolutely go "Burt" every fucking time. And so why is he not just in every lightsaber duel going, you don't have a lightsaber? You
It's
don't
because I
have
think
a lightsaber.
everybody else is more skilled at combat than Kylo. I mean,
I
if you
don't-
look at the sequels, I mean, they're throwing big haymakers.
The thing this is one of those things that we're like, I accept this and I hope that you guys do too. We're never going to agree because you guys like there is absolutely no weight, no resistance, no air drag, no balance to a lightsaber blade fighting style, and I like the lightsabers have heft and have fucking mass, and you can't just like that because it's actually a fucking thing. So like, yeah, you guys like the prequel fights where I can just put this thing on the tip of my finger and do this, and
Well, I even
fucking like
think-
everybody's fucking dead. And I like the ones where like you have to have an actual fighting style, like an actual honest to god fucking fighting style, because
I like the
you're not
original
always gonna
fighting
have
style.
the blade in the right place, so you better be able to throw a fucking punch or like step back or block. And so my favorite fight scene in all of Star Wars is the one in the snow on the third Death Star with Kylo and Finn.
That one's not a bad one.
That shit is fire. Fuck. Are
I'm
you
talking-
kidding me?
I'm talking more about like Rise of Skywalker when Rey and Kylo are fighting on the fallen Death Star, and she's like,
Mhm.
and like turns it around and, you know, and
Mhm.
I'm like, she looks so exhausted and just burn out, and like it's so heavy, and then he loses his saber and she fucking stabs him with his own, and it's like what this chick has had maybe a year's worth of training to Kylo's I'm gonna say 15.
At
How
least,
the
and
fuck is she beating his ass?
how the
And are
fuck
people
Luke
argue, well,
Skywalker
she's a
and Vader-
Palpatine, she's strong in the Force. He's a fucking Skywalker. He's fucking strong in the Force.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there. I mean, you watch that whole scene. It bums me out. Like the entire scene. I'm like, they look like toddlers. Like if I had my nephew holding this fighting and he's just you know, it bums me out. Now, the Force Awakens fight between Finn and Kylo and Rey and Kylo, that was pretty dope. I kind of enjoyed that one. I thought it was cool that Finn got a little shine and was actually, you know, doing pretty good.
Dude, Finn was fucking
And
tearing it up.
I
Somebody-
mean, I can understand how he would be somewhat good because he has
He's
stormtrooper
had
training.
melee training.
Yeah, he's a stormtrooper.
He's a stormtrooper. Somebody's taught him how to fight, so like he's got some idea.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, some of the prequel fights are kind of goofy. You know, I mean, they're not all good. Like, there's no real way Obi-Wan's winning against Grievous.
Joe, your
Yes?
absolute favorite thing that you want to rehearse with somebody, I'm sorry. That's the biggest fucking, like, to me, ever.
Which one?
Where
The Annie Obi.
Oh yeah, that is the best
Like-
thing on the planet.
Are
I
you
think it's
fucking
cool.
kidding me? Neither one of you are even touching each other's fucking sabers.
I feel
Like-
like they were filling each other out. Like, who's gonna throw the first strike? Kind of.
I
thing.
feel like they were jerking each other off.
I mean,
feel like
it was-
that was two
I-
guys.
it
that
was
spent
definitely
an
a little bit of
entire
an
summer
ego.
rehearsing one fight scene, and they both went. You know what would be kind of funny? Because like, what the fuck? That's not a defensive posture. That's not an offensive posture. You're not deflecting any. You both are literally just going.
So Obi-Wan's trained
You put
Anakin
it that
for so
way.
long. I mean, they're like, they know each other's moves, so it's like I feel like they were it was almost like two what is it, walruses when they like bump chests. They're like filling each other out, kind of. You know what I mean? They're standing there getting ready. Who's gonna make the first move? You know, just flipping their shit around, and it's. I mean, it's
good fighting.
it's not terrible, but it's still, I think, some of the best fighting we've had. But I do like, because you look at the originals, and it's like when Luke's fighting Vader in Return of the Jedi, and when he like, you know, I'll just turn your sister, you know, whatever, and he like rages out on him. I mean, he's over there just like fucking up and down shit, you know, smacking the walls and other shit like that, and I'm like, it's
we've stepped through the doorway. Buckle up, boys. Here we go. I hope you got 20 minutes. Lightsaber fighting has been my favorite thing since I was 4 fucking years old. So I have done all the fucking diving into lightsaber fighting, what actual honest to God real world like sword styles they took and went, hey, that'd work. Specifically, the shit we're all talking about is because we're talking about 3 different fight directors.
yeah.
So Nick Gillard did the prequels. All the flippy doos, all the spins, all the twirls, all the like fucking throwing it and catching it and all that shit. That was Nick Gillard. Bad motherfucker. Nick Gillard is one of my heroes. Love that guy. The guy from the original movies is actually a samurai from Japan, from a samurai family. He is actually a trained swordsman.
That makes a lot of sense too, because George was very inspired by like, what was it, Seven Samurai and some other movies when making Star Wars.
And so when he was making the originals, Conan the Barbarian was being made. And those guys hired this fucking samurai to come over and teach Arnold Schwarzenegger and his other 3 buddies how to hold a sword and not look like a fucking tard. And I forget who it was, but Lucas had a contact on the set, and he was working on Star Wars, and that person called him and went, bro, we have a samurai. So Lucas went over, watched some of the fight scenes, and went, that's it. Went, that's what I want. That's what I fucking need for my fight scenes in the original Star Wars movies. So specifically, the fight scene between Vader and Luke on the second Death Star, I will not fight. I will not fight. All that. That was choreographed by an actual samurai who is actually a sword master. And so like all the fucking high strikes and side strikes and all that, that's a sword master. Like he could fucking kill another human being with an actual sword in a sword fight, and he's teaching these guys and going, and that's how they fight. Which is where we get into, I hate the fucking prequels. Because the prequels are what I call special effects fighting. You take that into any fight fucking anywhere, you're going to fucking lose. You look cool, sure, you can do some flips, you can throw that shit in the... I can cut your head off. I can stab you through the fucking chest, I can disarm you, I can put you on... I know how to fight, you know how to look pretty.
Well, it's like, I think Dooku was fight. Like if you watched Attack of the Clones, I feel like he is the perfect type of sword fighting. It's not too outrageous. Well, it's not too outrageous, but it's like it feels like it's close enough to the originals, but fresh enough to be the prequels. Like it's cool.
Yes,
you know. And then you got Yoda flipping around and doing all of his shit, which I like that because it's like, hey, because all we had with Yoda was, you know, let me steal your shit and right on your back. You know, it's like that's kind of cool to see him. You know, like
he has
40 years ago, and
really impressive.
Yeah, he's decent. You know, and I think that's cool.
I'd rather see one of 2 or 3 things happen in fighting. Either let's do what the prequels were trying to do and actually establish all 7 forms as actual, like, identifiable. Oh, I can tell by how that guy squared up that he's Dim So, and how that guy squared up he's a Taru, and how that guy, like, I can note the style by how they stand and what they do. Okay, cool. Well, then let's get rid of everything else in Star Wars fighting and make that the only fucking thing we do, because that would be what their universe would do, right?
Well,
The
it's like,
codified examples of swordsmanship, and you are one of these schools and you will learn to be good at one. Okay, cool. Let's fucking do that. If we're not going to do that, if we're going to do a much more everybody kind of learns to fight on their own and you all have a little bit of like sauce on your fighting style because you're all different people, great. But then let's start picking real world fighting styles. And let's start like, and this is why this style's not good against somebody who fights with a long weapon or whatever, because that's real life. That's how fights work out. That's why we have so many fighting styles in martial arts, is because, well, actually somebody came up with a way to counter that. Okay. And if we're not going to do that, then like, let's come up with a third thing. It's just, I hate one TV show, this guy was fighting with a Screama. And then the next 5 TV shows were all Form 5. And then the movie after that, this guy was fighting with Sendoku. And then, can we try to codify? And if we're not going to try to codify, can we just go their fighting styles? There's a bunch of them and everybody has one. Like, Star Wars kind of needs to make up its fucking mind about swordplay is where I'm at.
I agree with you with like the whole like spinny thing just being completely impractical and just like it wouldn't work. It's wasted energy, wasted movements, and but you could almost look like it as like a color guard applied type of thing. You know, like sure they're out there spinning their rifles all around. They would never do that in a real battle, but for cinematic effect and to get that feeling through. I mean, I absolutely love all the spinny shit.
If you wanted to have
love
a
it.
parade with Obi-Wan and fucking Anakin marching in majorette uniforms and twirling their fucking lightsabers and catching them and shit to make it clear that, like, yeah, this is cool shit they all know how to do with their lightsabers that they do for celebration or for, like, showmanship or whatever. Cool, but, like, that's not a fucking fighting style.
And you could also argue that they're so skilled that they can do all the performative shit in actual combat. You could make that argument.
I mean, you could. Gene Hoglan is called the atomic clock of drumming because he's literally never missed a beat in his entire career, and he's the best drummer I've ever seen in my life, and he doesn't do all this shit between strikes.
Yeah,
He just fucking goes. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those, like, yeah, you could, but I don't. This is why I try to make room for it, because I just accept that, like, you guys are not going to come over to my side, and I'm not really trying to win you there.
I love the original fighting in the originals.
No.
I'm not a fan of the sequels
either, because I don't like it, but I respect that other people do, and that's fucking great, man. I want there to be more Star Wars fans. Just, you know,
I think of it as like, you know, the prequels are like, you know, it's the height of the Republic. It's the height of the Jedi. There's so many, so of course they're gonna be flashy and fucking spinny and tricks, and then you jump 20 years after they go extinct. I mean, who's Luke?
It's an old man who taught a 20-year-old.
Yeah, to deflect a couple things, and you know, then he went and fought Vader. I'm sure in between the movies he did some kind of training, but he did not have access to the same forms and stuff that they all had in the Republic, because most of that shit was destroyed or under lockdown, whatever Emperor Palpatine could have and hoard and hide and scatter across the galaxy. So I mean,
that's actually something in the new the Jedi Knight books.
Yeah, and it's like, because so Luke, I mean, I can understand why his form is kind of, you know, very stiff, and you know, it's his own style in a way. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense for Vader, because Vader was alive at that time, so he should be, you know, at least a little more flashy. But at the same time, he also has cybernetics. He's fucking 50 years old and burnt fucking roach in a suit. So it's like, I can imagine him being slower, but still it's like,
have you looked into specifically his cybernetics? Because that explains why he's not fighting with Ataru anymore or any of the other styles.
He's got like a fuck ton of shit like inside of him too.
Oh yeah,
like
no,
tubes and stuff. Like he's all kinds of.
He fucking does. But if you look at the limbs specifically,
yeah. Well, and Palpatine made them to where they were constantly bothering him and shit, and
every
causing
part
pain.
Of his fucking like cybernetics and his environment suit is literally designed to inflict nonstop agony on him. Yeah. So like when you look at the limbs that they put on him, they literally cut
Shit,
the arms and
yeah.
legs off of fucking IG-88 and went clank, clank. There you fucking go. They're strong as fuck and they don't miss, but they're not
Fast.
dexterous.
Yeah.
They don't move.
They're
with,
not.
like,
They're not Grievous limbs.
They go here and they go there, and that's what they fucking do, and they do that shit really fucking good. So, like, the reason Vader doesn't fight like Vader anymore is because the Palpatine saw to it.
Yeah.
And he went, hey, he was all, like, flippy and showy and shit. I don't want that anymore. I just want him to hit like a fucking freight train. And they went, okay, cool. So
he hits like a freight
that's
train.
what he does. Because my favorite... Do you know about Jabim? In the Clone Wars, it's a planet, Jabim, Jabim. It was one of the big planets during the official actual Clone Wars when Anakin was just a knight and he was with Obi-Wan, and it was one of the places that they got stationed, and it was really fucked up. It was basically like the whole point of the story was to show to the universe that the Republic was not always like good guys. Like they were the good guys, but every now and then that entailed doing some shit that like you really probably didn't want to do because things have to go a certain way. And so Obi-Wan and Anakin got sent to Jabim, and the basic shakedown of it was Jabim was a planet full of criminals that were only criminal so their government could send them here to be forced labor for the rest of their lives and be miners. And it was on a planet that was nothing but mud because it rained 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Like, it just never didn't rain. It was always horrible to be there. There were fucking mudslides, cave-ins, people dying by the thousands. And so Jabim joined the Separatists, because they didn't want to fucking do this anymore. They wanted to be people, and they wanted to be free, and they wanted all this shit. And so it's one of the things that, like, actually is one of the reasons Vader low-key kind of started to come into existence, and Anakin started to hate the Republic, was because he went to this place and saw this and went, this is my government doing this to these people, and I feel for them. Like, I'm the fucking bad guy here, and I understand it.
Well, and he understands what it's like to be a slave.
And so Anakin had a huge fucking problem with Jabim, and it was a place where he almost got kicked out of the Order by Obi-Wan because he rebelled against the Republic. Anakin started helping the Separatists by going, no, I fucking get it. You guys shouldn't have to do this. You shouldn't be slaves. This shouldn't be the way you live. I will go fucking fight my own people to make sure that that's not how this happens. And because he was Anakin and he had the 501st and he'd been in the Clone Wars and stuff, he started by trying to be like, guys, let's not do this. Like, let me talk to the commanders. I want to go see the Grand Admiral. You know, I want to like try and talk about what's going on and fix this. And they didn't want to fix it. And eventually, like, Anakin threw hands. And some fucking clone troopers died. They weren't of his, but like Anakin threw hands and was like, I will fucking kill people. We're gonna save these guys. A bunch of political shit happened. They ended up getting pulled off the planet and sent somewhere else. And Jabim just kind of like fell into the background of the Clone Wars. Well, you go to Vader, the comic series Vader, which takes place immediately after he gets put in the fucking suit forward. Yeah. So, like, first issue, he's going, where's Padme? What happened to Obi-Wan? Who do I have to fucking murder? And they put him in the suit and went, hey, man, why don't you just, like, take a breath, go take a stroll around the fucking Imperial Gardens and see what we've done with Coruscant, and then we'll, like, let you in on some shit. And he was like, okay. And so he goes wandering around Coruscant as fucking Lord Vader for the first time, and the only thing he sees is all those people are slaves. All those people are slaves. All those people are slaves. Fuck, all those people are slaves. And then starts noticing that those are those guys from that one planet I saved during the Clone Wars. And those are those other guys from that other planet that I saved during the Clone Wars. And he just keeps going around going, oh my fucking God, I'm the guy that enslaved all these people. So he starts this big, secret, underground, before the rebellion, going, I'm going to make the Empire stop keeping slaves.
Yeah, he was
all this
very
shit.
anti-slavery.
Yeah, and all this shit breaks down and comes to other places, but we get back to eventually, like, he's got to go sword fight some people, so he's getting ready to go sword fight, and he starts noticing, I can't move like I used to, like, at all. I put my hand, like, this quickly, I can just push it through fucking cement, and that's pretty fucking cool, but, like, I can't twirl my saber and do all my defensive shit. I've got 7 guys just died. 7 guys just died. Like, that's all I can do. So that's when he embraces the Vader and starts leaning on the dark side, which is one of the reasons that Palpatine made his environment suit like fucking agony for him to be in, is because if Vader went out and tried to fight you, just fight you, like Anakin would, you'd fucking wipe the floor with him, because he can't. He's physically incapable of it. But if Vader goes out there and goes, dark side, fucking that's all I'm gonna do is just throw dark side powers and I've got a fucking lightsaber. You can't fight that because he's like the most powerful force user ever. So we do all this shit to gimp Vader on purpose. So by the time that Anakin is meeting his son and we're having these fights, yeah, he's 70 years old. Yeah, he's a quadriplegic. Yeah, he's a half machine. Also, these limbs were designed on purpose not to be very functional. It's one of the reasons he's got such a kind of like movement to him, because we did that shit on purpose because we want his life to suck. And so, like, the only things he's got is rage and power. Fucking hit like a goddamn tank. That's all I fucking do. And, like, yeah, that's not a really impressive fighting style. Yeah. It's impressive to actually see, because, like, I hit this motherfucker so hard, we literally buckled the fucking pavement. Like, okay, wow, that guy is strong, but that's what he's got.
He instills fear in everybody. That's what he does the most. Like, his presence is enough to scare a lot of people off. But then when he just, pile drives somebody or fucking snaps their neck in midair, they're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna fuck off.
Oh yeah, wait a minute, that guy's fucking terrifying.
Like Rogue One, where he aura farms in the hallway.
Dude, I had a friend who's never liked Star Wars at all, and I showed him that scene. I was like, just shut up and watch this. And he went, yeah, okay, cool. I like Vader now.
I like Vader and Kenobi when he's dragging that one lady down the middle of the street and just choking people up against the wall as he's walking through.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
My favorite Vader thing is from a comic book. And it's a bunch of rebels. They got him, they have him surrounded. They're like, you're surrounded, Lord Vader, surrender.
This is on Jabim.
He's like, I'm just surrounded by fear and dead men. And lights his lightsaber and fucking just murders them all. Dude, it is the cleanest fucking panel I've ever seen in a Star Wars comic.
That was why I brought the fucking Jabim shit up. Because they brought him back to Jabim because they knew who he was. And they were going, maybe if we take him back to Space Nom, it'll like fuck his head up. And no, it did not.
I'm surrounded by fear and dead men. Fucking
Have
cool.
you guys seen, because like how do you guys feel about like universe crossovers? Non-Star Wars stuff coming into Star Wars and Star Wars going into non-Star Wars stuff.
No.
It's okay. Aliens. It's not my favorite.
I'm about to disprove you both. Aliens. Fucking, there's a crossover. It was a Halloween crossover, and that's how they got away with it. And it was a Star Destroyer found an extragalactic comet and was like, this shit never happens. We have whole series of books that fucking Mess is reading about shit coming from like outside the galaxy into ours and stuff. And Vader's Star Destroyer was the closest. So it gets the ping from this other Star Destroyer, hey, we found this thing from outside the galaxy, come check it out. And he's like, all right, bet, I'm on my way. And by the time he gets there, when they pull up, Star Destroyer's a fucking wreck, and everybody on it is fucking dead. And he's like,
sounds like a xenomorph.
So they do a like scan, and they're like, there's a hostile life form on the ship, and it seems to be responsible for having killed the entire Star Destroyer. And they were like, we advise you just nuke it from orbit and move on. And Vader being Vader was like, I'm not a pussy. get me a fucking shuttle. So he goes over there by himself, and then it turns into Vader on the Flying Dutchman, populated solely by aliens. The movie. Aliens. And that shit's fucking dope. Are you kidding me? Darth Vader and his lightsaber versus fucking aliens? That shit's insane. It's like 4 issues. Oh my fucking god, it's so good.
Didn't they do a Predator crossover too?
Oh, fuck, man, probably. I don't know, because I'm honestly, I'm with Joe. I'm a little too tistic. I don't like my piles to touch each other, so like I'm not really into Star Wars having crossovers with non-Star Wars, but I read that one and was just like, holy shit, this is so cool. And so like I assume if they have an aliens, they probably have a fucking Predator, and they probably
it's not like I don't want to cross over with Star Wars and Fast and the Furious, but you know, it's like Star Wars and aliens.
It's all
that
about
makes
family.
sense. That makes sense, you know, because they're aliens. It's like it could be out there somewhere.
See, that's what I'm saying, is there are ways you can do like
A crossover that makes sense.
Like one of the best examples I have of this is in comics. They're always trying to do crossovers between titles, between characters, between companies. A guy
Transformers
from DC
and G.I. Joe. They're getting a
yeah,
movie
that
together.
kind of shit. Like they're just trying to cross over fucking everything. And they never stop to think about it. Like, does this work? What character I'm trying to bring in from outside into this universe, does he actually have somewhere in this universe he could fit? Or am I just like fucking shoehorning shit in together to make money? And like, so 2 examples of crossovers I have that actually work, where the people thought this shit out and went, yeah, no, actually I can kind of see how this would work in the universe, is Batman and Spawn. Because Batman has contact with a bunch of the magic people in DC, and he used to fucking date Zantara, and like, so like, Batman knows magic is real and accepts it as part of the world. He just knows he's not a magician and goes, I'll fuck with that shit when it shows up. Spawn is hell magic and demons and stuff. So like, we have Spawn show up, Batman's like, who the fuck is this tard? And then somebody from the magic universe of DC goes, oh, that's a demon, and I think he's not from this part of reality because like he's not vibing the same as everything else. And so like, okay, we found a way to kind of fit him into the universe and make it work. And then you get, the story is fucking fire. Batman and Spawn, dude, that's the shit. It's awesome. And then the other one was Batman again, and this bad little motherfucker right here, Grendel.
I thought that was Venom.
Because Grendel, in his universe, is just a criminal. He is an Olympic athlete who got into crime because he could, and is really good at it. And because he keeps not getting caught and keeps getting away with it, he keeps going, fuck it, I'm gonna keep doing criminal stuff. So that kind of story and that kind of character fits with a Batman universe really fucking well. So we had a crossover where it was Batman trying to stop Grendel. Woo! And like, that's what I need out of my crossovers, is kind of like the aliens in Star Wars. I need you to stop and go like, am I just trying to shoehorn this in to make money? Or am I going like, it's a sci-fi universe, there's a lot of star travel, they even in their own galaxy are like, there are unexplored planets and unknown aliens and stuff. Well, okay, cool. If you give me enough lines of dialogue about how this ship or this egg or this whatever fucking showed up, cool. It's space, this all lines up, let's have a fucking freaky Halloween story with some aliens.
Yeah.
But like, if you give me Superman shows up in Star Wars, like I'm
That means
about
Goku
that.
wins.
Yeah, it's like, I don't fucking need this shit. Like, he kills everybody in the fucking universe, even Vader, and that's fucking lame. Bye, whatever. Anyway, you guys have humored me enough. I'll shut up.
Well, are we thinking it's about done? You
So we covered a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you could probably just cut out the last like 30 minutes of me blabbing about fucking Star Wars fight styles and shit, and we'd be good.
I like keeping it in. I mean, it's just less editing, and it's part of what we're doing. I mean, we're talking Star
I was gonna
Wars, and
say, like,
if people don't like it, then fuck them. I mean, we're just
I
having
want to
fun.
spike Joe off like you guys just spiked me off. I want to find Joe's secret button and have Joe just be like, okay, so here's the fucking, like, you know, I really want to see him spin out about his conspiracy theories.
Oh, like what I call bullshit in the Star Wars universe?
Or like
Like
anything. Or like anything, bro. I just want to be part of the journey. Tell me about when you call bullshit on Star Wars. Tell me about your favorite fighting styles. Tell me about your least favorite fighting styles. Tell me about that time that you ran into David Prowse at fucking Homeland. Like, you know.
No, what the one
Shit.
thing that bugs me about Star Wars is time dilation. Everybody's traveling at light speed, but like no one's aging differently. And so it's like, okay, that's where I have to suspend my disbelief. That's where I draw my line. Like, okay, here's where I have to separate my reality from it.
Yeah.
Have you, because for everyone who doesn't know, our dear friend Joe Cash, Joe Money, JoJo, not a big fiction fan until very recently, and then stepped off into Star Wars and has developed an appreciation thereof.
Yes.
So hearing that there's any kind of other universe that's fictional that he's into, I get kind of like, tell me all about it, Joe. Because I think that shit's neat. I think it's neat that you're finding other fandoms and stuff. And so, like, tell me about all the fucking shit you think is cool now, bro. Like, are you reading comics? Are you into...
Nope, still just Star Wars.
I mean,
That's it right
fucking
now.
great. There's a lot here.
You did
There's
play a
lot
game.
here.
You did play Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
Now all you got to do is play
Have you
the
got the second one yet?
Not yet. I have it down, or I have it on my computer. I haven't played it yet, though.
Have you gotten Tor downloaded yet?
No.
That would be
Okay,
a
'cause
cool
you like-
one.
I was say you like skateboarding with friends. Do you want to come swing a lightsaber with friends?
Always down for lightsabers.
Not the ones in our pants.
Hey, let's not rule anything out.
You're right.
This channel is this far from turning into dance off, just so everybody knows. Oh, is it that time?
Dude, this actually shows up a lot better on camera. Joe's just so cool. It's like orange line and then a black blade. Alex just disappears. I'm invisible. Well, gentlemen.
So that's something. Have you guys come into any of the trick sabers yet in your books?
Nope.
No. I actually have had very little saber fighting. Lucas pulled it out and ignited it at least 2 to 3 times.
Yeah, you're, like I said, you're reading the Timothy Zahn books. He took the whole, like, you don't pull your lightsaber out unless you're really ready to fucking bang, like, to heart.
Yeah.
So you don't get a lot of lightsaber fights in his books. You want to go read Kevin J. Anderson. Kevin J. Anderson is like, somebody farted! He's nowhere near as good as R.A. Salvatore, but he is very good at writing action. So reading the lightsaber fights is actually pretty compelling in the Young Jedi Knight books, because you get a lot of cool shit. Like, some of the fight scenes in the prequels were pulled from my man Kevin J. Anderson, because he's got a cool, like, how to block out fights and what would make a cool background for a fight scene and shit like that. So, like, I'm not gonna name names, but there were some volcanoes and some limbs getting chopped off and shit that, like, that pretty much ended up in some movies.
Yep. Well, gentlemen, you ready to call it a day?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning into the podcast. Make sure to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, share with your friends. Drop down in the comments who's your favorite author, and why, or what's your favorite fighting style? Yeah. What's your favorite fighting style? Joe, you want to add one?
Which fight styles, as far as like prequels, sequels, originals, do you like best?
Alrighty.
Oh, I'm far and I'm gonna lose this one.
Well, everybody, we will see you later. May the force be with you. Peace.
Always.